And we welcome you to our coverage of the conclusion of the DP World Spain Sail Grand Prix and Cádiz, part of the Rolex SailGP Championships. That is event 11 of 12, and that what leaves the very final event, which is in Abu Dhabi, alongside Olympian Stevie Morrison and former Emirates GBR athlete Hannah Diamond. I am Todd Harris. All right, Hannah, it really came down to one maneuver, that final race between New Zealand, Emirates GBR, and Germany Deutsche Bank, and it was your former team that pulled off the move of the match.
Yeah, and I mean, what an amazing final to have it all play out on that last turning mark of the course. So often this weekend we saw big leads, easy to extend and then never be able to look back. But actually, to have the final come down to that last maneuver was really awesome. And, you know, under pressure, when Emirates GBR had to pull it off, they pulled off a perfect maneuver. For
an event that we weren't sure how good the conditions were going to be, Stevie Morrison, it turned out to be a great event. The sea state came into play, but some of the teams that we think are always at the front, not there.
No, mistakes really hurt, didn't they? And you talk about that moment. You know, the prize money at this event was $400,000 for the win, $240,000 for second. So that was a $160,000 moment. Right. Roughly. Don't know if I've done my maths right there. Now I'm thinking about that. Anyway, it was a big moment. And but it's going to be a $2 million race. Yeah. That moment could be a sort of $2 million moment next time. And yeah, the British just got it right. But no, Australia, you know, we're used to seeing them kind of dominate a bit, and they've looked quite quick. It was a very tricky sea state. It was unique. I mean, I suppose, you know, if you're the coach of the Australian team or the Spanish, you'd say, okay, yeah, we look a little bit off the pace compared to Emirates GBR in New Zealand at that event. It's going to be nothing like it in Abu Dhabi. Might be a similar wind speed, but it'll be flat.
Yeah. Hannah, I want to go back to the start of this whole regatta here in Cádiz because we talk about the weather, the conditions. A lot of teams were battling for positions. Spain, defending home waters, did not have a great first day. Came out the second day and looked like, okay, they're going to get it done, and then just couldn't deliver. Do you think a lot of that is just the pressure and the length of the season and just, I don't know, just too much on the shoulders of Diego Botín?
I don't know. I think when the Spanish are on a roll, they're really kind of unstoppable. We saw them win 2 events back-to-back back in the States earlier in the season. And at that point, we were saying they are tipped to be the boat to beat in the final, but actually they do have some weaknesses, and it's when they kind of can't find their form, they aren't able to pick back through the fleet as well as some of the other teams. So there's not a lot of time left now, and they've got quite a lot of work to do, but you know, there's time for them to sit back and reflect, look at what's gone on this season. And we've seen that teams are able to do that. We've seen the Germans, for example, you know, they were nowhere halfway through the season, but actually the last few events, they've had a really impressive step up in performance. So it is possible. There's a lot of information that the teams can use to make some of those jumps, but the time's running out and they don't have a lot of races to make up the points to really make sure that they make that grand final.
7 fleet races, Stevie, but 6 different winners. So the parity is there. Unfortunately, now we have to start turning our attention to those teams that are going to be in that grand final in Abu Dhabi next month. And it's 4. There's 4 teams to talk about, and that's basically how it's going to play out.
Yeah, I mean, Emirates GBR 9 points ahead of Spain. So what does that mean? Well, it kind of means if Emirates GBR are 8th, they're in the final.
Yep.
So I don't know.
Not a clinch, but close.
Yeah, I don't know if we've seen them be that far back this season at all. You know, we'd have to you know, go and find that out. But yes, they're pretty well set. New Zealand and Australia, pretty well set as well. But it is only 4 points from Spain to Australia. And again, the trouble Spain have got is that you're racing top teams who are normally near the top. But we've seen, yeah, as you say, 7 races, 7 winners. There's not going to be as many. I think we just do the first day racing in Abu Dhabi. There's no sort of event final. It's a grand final. But that's, you know, that means there's less races for Spain to make things happen. But it also means a mistake in a race is hard to claw back. So were Australia or New Zealand to have a shaky first or second race in Abu Dhabi and Spain come out the blocks firing, it's going to ramp up the pressure pretty quick.
Yeah, Hannah, we've been to Abu Dhabi before. It's consistently, or not consistently, but historically, it's calm breezes. It's not big breeze situations. So with those kind of conditions coming, what team do you feel confident in that's going to be able to deal with that and put themselves in a good position of those 4 that we've talked about?
Well, I think actually it can be really hard to call because there's so much in the build-up to the start, and we can see any of the teams can get themselves late in the build-up to the start, find themselves out the back of the pack, and then it just is so hard to catch up. There's a big bubble of disturbed wind in the middle of the course, which means that the passing opportunities are fewer and fewer, especially as that course gets kind of smaller and smaller in those light wind conditions. So it's pretty hard to say, but I think one of the things that will be interesting to see at the time is do Emirates GBR choose to interact with any other boats? Will they have a preference over whether Spain or Australia join them in the grand final? You know, if we're assuming that they're quite a good chance of making it themselves. So it's very difficult to do in these kinds of boats, in this type of fleet, where everything is so close and the margins are so small. But I'm sure they'll be having discussions about whether there is a preference of which teams they race in the final, because it's different as well. It's a winner-takes-all grand final. There's no prize for second or third. You want to win, or, you know, you get nothing. So the mentality is slightly different. It'll be interesting to see how that plays out on that weekend.
The Australians have done it 3 times before, Stevie. The Bons Flying Roos now rebranded. If you're Tom Slingsby and you know that Abu Dhabi is light wind, and he even said it here at this event, we've not been the best light wind team. Are you a little nervy over the next 6 weeks?
I don't think so. I think historically they've not been as good. I actually think the change of bringing in, you know, I mean, you're talking about a 3-time wing trimmer and Carl Langford. I mean, he's absolutely brilliant, but sometimes a change is as good as the rest, isn't it? So perhaps Draper is a bit more of a light wind guy on the wing, and we had seen good performance. I mean, one thing I'd be intrigued about, and I don't know how it comes in. Hannah's done the travelling. We don't have to, Todd. But the Australians, we've had 3 events in 5 weeks. I guess that's potentially quite a lot of travel for some people, whereas the teams that are based in Europe, you know, if Slingsby's been going home to Australia and Kinley and Sam and Tash, you know, they're potentially quite tired after all these events, quite mentally straining. They've now got 6 weeks to go away, reset, rest, and then come back into what will be a lot more of an even playing field, sort of fatigue-wise. You know, we don't know how they're all feeling, but I can imagine that the Australians are kind of tired after this little run of events. Not been the best. You know, once you've won as much as them, you've got that confidence to go away and come back. But yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? This time last year, I'm pretty sure Spain were sat in 4th as well.
Yeah, credit where credit is due. Congratulations again to Emirates GBR. They come to Spain, they get the win on event 11, and what a great job for Dylan Fletcher and his squad. Now they turn their attention. Momentum's a huge deal, but it's not going to always win you a race. So as I turn to you, Hannah Diamond, for predictions of how you think Abu Dhabi is going to play out, what do you say?
Oh, it's always so hard to do these predictions, but I think, you know, if we look at the season as a whole and the teams that have been most consistent, I have to say that Emirates GBR are looking pretty strong at the moment.
Stevie?
I think the top 3, as they are now, will be the top 3 in the final. Okay. I think the boat that leads at Mark 1 will win, and I think the boat that leads at Mark 1 will be the Kiwis.
Ooh, nice. Well, you've seen Emirates GBR, you say the Kiwis. How do you go against Tom Slingsby? I'm going to say Tom Slingsby and the Australians right the ship, and they become light wind specialists and claim their 4th title. We'll see if that all plays out, but we hope to see you there. Remember, it's coming up next month. That's November 29th and the 30th. It will be the Mubadala Abu Dhabi Sail Grand Prix Season 5 2025 Grand Final. It'll be amazing. That's all we know. 11 events down, 1 more to go. For Stevie Morrison and Hannah Diamond, I'm Todd Harris. We will see you in the Middle East.